Hey guys, so today what we're going to do is we're going to take a look at the Kingroon KP3S Pro S1. I've had this printer for about a week now. I wasn't going to do an unboxing or anything like that just because there's a ton of unboxings about this printer already on YouTube. So what I was going to do is I got it out of the box and I basically wanted to use it for a week or so just to see, what I thought of it. So what we're going to do today, not an unboxing, not a review, where essentially I just wanted to talk about the things that I like and dislike about this printer. There's a lot to like. There's a handful of things that I don't like that I wish were better. Um, but the potential for this printer is pretty good. So we're going to talk a little bit more about that in this video. All right. Thanks for tuning in. So one of the things that that I like most about it is I love the cantilever design, right? So similar to the Creality Ender 2, I love the compact design. Just fits anywhere. They're small, easy to move around. And the great thing about this is that the reason why I didn't do an unboxing is that this thing was so easy to put together. It's literally virtually all together. You slide the gantry down into a slot down in the base, and it's 6 screws, right? So 2 screws from the bottom up into the extrusion, 2 screws in the back, and then there's 2 screws in the front behind the Z screw that are T-nuts, right? So it's held together extremely well. The fit and finish on this printer is actually for the price. It's roughly around $259 with. I elected to go with a PEI sheet. And just to let you guys know, this is my printer. I purchased this printer directly from Kingroon, and for $259, it's probably a little bit more expensive than what I would like to see it at. Now, don't get me wrong; doesn't mean that it's a bad printer. It's a good printer, but in comparison to some other printers in the area, like the Solvol SV06, or at 229 or 249, 259, depending on where you buy it, it's basically the same price. You get a little bit bigger build volume, a little bit more bells and whistles, auto bed leveling, larger build volume. So it's tough. At 249, this is kind of a tough printer to talk people into. The one benefit behind it is that it is just so simple to put together. Now, putting it together, there are some issues. I did run into a few issues, specifically with this end stop screw here. So originally, and as we'll see, I'm going to bring a camera in here a little bit closer. Let's see. So as we'll see, this here, this end stop screw. So originally it has a much larger screw with a spring. Okay? The issue I had is that with the PEI sheet, it was almost like the bed or the Z screw wasn't set up to include or to be with this PEI sheet. So the stock end stop screw bottomed out, right? And it bottomed out too high to be able to raise the bed to level it. So the glass bed that it comes with being a little bit thicker, about double the thickness of the magnetic sheet plus the flexible PEI sheet, made it so you essentially couldn't raise the bed high enough without the screws being too loose, right? The knobs being too loose. So luckily I had an M3 bolt the right length, screwed it in there and got it to work. Now, not everybody might have this issue. If you go with the glass bed, it probably would have been fine. I don't really care for glass beds typically. I'm more partial to the PEI flexible sheets. So that's what I went with. The other issues that I kind of had with it were when putting it together, and I'll get a closer shot here. So these two screws, you can see them right there. Those two screws in the Z screw, that nut, those were extremely loose. These screws here as well, what basically the gantry screws that hold it to the bracket and to the linear rails, that was also loose. So there was a lot of play in this gantry here. A lot back and forth. It was actually not level with the bed. So I was able to get that thing, tighten all those up, tighten up all those screws, measure it, and get it level with the bed, and it's fine. Now, if you haven't had experience with printers, and then this is your first beginner printer, that may be tough. You may struggle with that, but those are really the issues that I found with it, right? So the gantry being a little bit loose, some screws being loose. Once tightened up, it seemed fine. The Z-NSUP screw being too tall, not being able to go down far enough to get a good level on the bed. Again, fix that simply by putting in a new M3 screw. The other issue that I find with it is this reverse Bowden tube setup. I find that kind of strange. It's strange in the way where it connects up here to this Titan direct drive. Sometimes when you're feeding it in, that filament doesn't go in all the way, and you actually have to pull the PTFE tube out of the direct drive, feed the filament down in, and then kind of seat the Bowden tube again. And that's kind of clunky. What I probably would have preferred is to see them kind of set a spool holder up on top here, with the filament runout sensor, somewhere up here or on top of the direct drive. Preferably not the direct drive, something hanging from the filament holder. I'm super glad that it has a filament runout sensor. It works. I've tested it. So those are really my only three issues with this machine. It's, like I said before, it's a cantilever setup. What I love about the printer and what actually drew me to it was the fact that it had all linear rails, right? No V rollers. Prusa machines, the new SV06s with the linear rods. So I really like the linear rods and the linear rails, right? You don't have that play and that consumable wear on those wheels like you do with the V rollers. Less adjustment that you have to worry about. I think it's better for beginner people that are just getting into 3D printing. And this being the KPS or the KP3S Pro S1, I liked that it came with a little bit larger build volume, right? So I had an original KPS or KP3S that was 180 by 180 by 180. This one being 200 by 200. And actually, if you measure the bed of this, it's actually 210 by 210 by 200. So it's a pretty decent build volume for most people. Has the TMC 2225 stepper driver, so it is very quiet printing. There is some noise. This Pro S1 model here has the power supply in the base, which I actually love that too. I wasn't a big fan of the external power supply. I don't like that on any printers, especially this one. It was such a small printer in mobile, but yet you're dragging an external power supply along with it. So I didn't care for that. The Titan direct drive extruder, this extruder specifically on here, works well. Haven't had any issues with it. The print quality is great. The large gear, so it's a 3-to-1 gear ratio. And this large gear here, it clicks. Okay, so on retraction, it makes a pretty significant click, which is kind of strange. But and it is loud enough to where if you were sitting by it and hearing it, it can get kind of annoying. But it doesn't seem to affect anything. I've been printing with it as is. I've been printing with it with time lapses with the Beagle camera, and it seems to handle the retractions, even the uh, greater retraction using the Beagle cam to reduce that stringing of the head moving off, in between each picture. It doesn't seem to trouble it. So that's been really good. Like I said, the filament runoff sensor, that was kind of next on my list to talk about. We already discussed that. I like it. It works. The touchscreen. The touchscreen is small. I think it advertises at a 3.5-inch touchscreen, and I'm not sure the actual screen itself might be under that, like 2.5, 3. But it does the job. I don't have any problems with the controls inside the printer. Um, the strange thing is it doesn't have any advanced settings, so you can't you can't edit or update the like e-steps or no Z offset from the printer. You would have to connect your computer and send it through like either Octoprint or Pronterface or something like that. So that's kind of strange, but for a beginner, I think it'll be fine. Um, does have resume print after a power outage. I did test that. I did pull the power in the middle of in a print, and it did resume perfectly fine. One of the other things they tout in the marketing for this printer is that it's 95% pre-assembled, and it is really 6 bolts, and you're ready to go. You stick in the Capricorn tubing. Well, I'm assuming it's. I don't think it's true Capricorn tubing. Some of my other Capricorn tubing seems to be a little bit different shade of blue. So I'm not sure if it's this is the original legit Capricorn. I did replace it. The stock one seemed to have it was tight. Trying to feed the filament in, being the reverse Bowden tube coming up around. It was tight. You couldn't push it through as well. I replaced it with this Capricorn, and it seems to be much better. But overall, the print quality, this 3D print bunny egg pot is one of my wife's favorite designs, favorite models. I've printed a couple of these now. Printed fine, right? So this was using the Beagle camera time lapse. Came out okay. There is a little bit of stringing on it. It probably needs. I think I was using 5mm retraction, which is the default that comes with the Beagle camera. And it seems to be good. There's a little bit of stringing, but not bad. I was also using a leftover G-Tech like blue sparkly filament that is old. So it is what it is. Um, Belt tension. It actually came out of the box with the belts pretty well tensioned. Belt tension knob here and here. Pretty easy to loosen. It does have mechanical end stops. Again, I have no issue with those. I don't really care for the wiring here. I don't typically like this stiff, wiring covering. I like the spiral kind, the looser kind, softer kind. This is pretty stiff. It doesn't seem to affect it at all, but it is actually tight when you slide this, all the way over. There is some snugness here. You're extended pretty much as far as you're going to go. But one thing I will say is one of the things that that attracted me to this printer was that I love the fact that it's got linear rails, and not just linear rails on the X and the Y, but they're all linear rails, right? So Z, X, Y linear rails. I like that it's got dual linear rails, and they're super smooth, right? They seem to be legit high quality linear rails. It doesn't seem like they skimped on knockoffs. Everything is nice and smooth. Everything seemed like it came well greased. the 3-to-1 gear ratio on the Titan extruder, it feeds nice and smooth, and the print quality is just good. It's not great, but it's good for a first-time printer, or a first-time 3D printer. Just purchasing a print, I think you're going to be fine. I think you're really going to enjoy this printer. So would I recommend it? Yeah, I think I would. I haven't had any issues with it really, other than those small little things. And like I said, I think, maybe, my, the thread here where the stock, end stopped screwing in. Maybe mine was different. I know other people that have had this printer that haven't had that problem. So I tightened it up, and it maybe it needed to go a little bit more. Maybe there's some powder coating down on those threads. I'm not sure. I didn't feel comfortable, reefing on it anymore. So I just swapped the screw out. So, like I said, print quality great. Seems to be bridging good. Cooling probably could be helped a little bit better. I did notice on the chest, like the Castle test print that comes on the SD card. On the back side, there's kind of a bridging test on it. The front side prints great where the duct is. On the back side, there was some drooping. It wasn't bad, but there was some drooping where, if it had cooling on that side of the nozzle, I think it would be a little bit better. So there are some upgrades that could be done on this printer. I plan on doing some. This is one of my first YouTube videos. And if you want to reach out to me through the comments, what you would like to see with the printer. First thing I plan on doing, I'm definitely going to put Clipper on it. I'm most likely going to swap it out. I have a Revo direct drive BQ. Thinking about swapping that out and putting that on this, just to have the quick swap nozzles. This printer this size, do you need 6mm nozzles? No, but I like just the simple swap of even the 4mm nozzles, a quick swap. This doesn't seem too bad to be able to swap the nozzles out, but so Clipper, probably that new direct drive, that Revo direct drive, and that's pretty much it. I actually may put a larger screen on it just because when it has Clipper, something with like Octodash or sorry, not Octodash, but like Clipper screen or something. So yeah, that's it, guys. I would recommend it. I haven't had much issue with it. I really like the PEI sheet. Sticks well. Comes on and off. It is a flexible steel sheet. Appears to be not swappable. I thought originally there was like a smooth PEI in the back. I don't think so. And then, but seems to work well. So, my next video might be, I've got a Solval SV06 Plus in a box at some point. I might take out and do a little bit of a review on that. Not an unboxing, but a review just to talk about it and see, what are the things that I like. I love my SV06, so the Plus should be even better. Print some helmets on it, stuff like that. And then the Beagle Cam. I've been always a big fan of Octoprint, time-lapse videos, cameras through Octoprint. Has always worked great for me. Clipper, again, Clipper's always been great. But about a month ago, I heard, I saw a little bit about the Beagle camera, so I thought I'd try it. With Raspberry Pis, becoming difficult to find, I thought, heck, why not try it? $80. I believe it was $79.99, and it's worked great. Super easy setup. So I might do a quick video on that just to get something out there, just to let Mintian know how happy I am with their product. It's a great little camera. Does great time lapses, good controls. So I might do a little video on that. So all right, guys. Well, thanks for watching. And like I said, I hope to have several more videos here in the next few weeks. And like I said, if you want a Kingroon KP3S, I know you can get them a couple different places now, direct from Kingroon. The KP3S Pro S1. I believe you can buy it directly from Sliceworks too. Sliceworks has a version where they give you like a handle at the top, an orange handle. Love Sliceworks, great company. But either way, I don't think you can go wrong. So grab one and play with it and have fun. All right. Thanks, guys.